So this morning I want to talk about responding to life's challenges. And as you know, life in its essence is a series of joys and sorrows, triumphs and tribulations. It's just always throwing something new at us. And challenges, be they large or small, are an inevitable part of our journey. They're unavoidable. And for many years, I responded to those minor inconveniences as if they were tragedies, way out of proportion to the situation I was facing. I suffered unnecessarily because of my response. Those around me suffered. I was impatient. I was reactive. And I responded to these inconveniences as though they were personal. And I think Tom will relate to this. A traffic jam would evoke a strong response of frustration, even though I had no control over the traffic, and on and on and on. The way we perceive and respond to these challenges, and that's the operative word here, respond and perceive, defines the impact they have on our lives. So the question for this morning is, are these challenges, these day-to-day challenges, tragedies or inconveniences? And this question invites us to reflect on the nature of suffering and the lens through which we view adversity. And from a Buddhist perspective, the answer lies not in the external event, not in the traffic jam, but in our internal reaction to that event and the understanding we cultivate from that event. As you know, the Buddha taught that suffering is an intrinsic part of life: birth, aging, sickness, death, separation from what we love, union with what we don't love, what we dislike. All of these are forms of suffering. But the Buddha emphasized that suffering is not absolute. It's not the mere presence of pain or difficulty or inconveniences that causes us to suffer. It's our attachment to how things should be. It's our resistance to the impermanence of things. And it's our failure to see the true nature of reality that, as you know from how we talk about these things, are the roots of suffering. Buddhism teaches that suffering is not caused by the events themselves, but by the way we cling to expectations, resist change, and fail to see reality as it is. The question of whether life's challenges or tragedies or inconveniences is at its heart a question of perception. With this understanding, we often label as tragedy, the things we label as tragedy begin to lose the power over us. A tragedy, in the conventional sense, is an event of great misfortune. It's a profound loss. It shakes us to our core, leaving us feeling devastated. Yet Buddhism invites us to examine even these true tragedies with mindfulness and wisdom. Are they truly tragedies? This is where our wisdom and perception comes in. Or is it our perception that simply magnifies their gravity? When we cling to expectations or invest ourselves in external circumstances, the challenge of life can feel overwhelming. It can feel almost catastrophic when we get all caught up in how the external world is unfolding. But if we view these events with equanimity, do they not transform into opportunities for personal growth, for compassion, for insight? You may recall the story, the Geisa Gautama story in the Buddhist tradition. It's the story of the woman who is stricken by grief after the death of her child. She sought a cure for his lifeless body, which she carried around, and she went to the Buddha, who advised her to find a mustard seed from a household untouched by death. And as she went from door to door, she discovered that death was a universal experience, not personal. And this realization shifted her perspective. What initially felt to her like an unbearable tragedy became an invitation to understand the impermanence of life and the interconnectedness of all things. So she was able to then accept the loss of her child and grieve him and grieve that loss. On the other hand, what we might consider inconveniences are often small disruptions or difficulties that we encounter in our daily life, losing our keys, being stuck in traffic, facing a minor disagreement with a friend, these kinds of things. How often do we respond emotionally as if these were tragedies and not simply inconveniences? We overreact. Our reactivity is out of proportion to the thing that we're facing. Nonetheless, these events don't carry the same emotional weight as a tragedy, but they're not without their lessons. Each inconvenience, and we encounter them every single day, offers us a chance to practice patience, mindfulness, non-attachment, the embracing of impermanence. So if we treat inconveniences as opportunities for growth, we begin to cultivate a mind that remains calm and steady, even amongst life's chaos. Now, this distinction between tragedies and inconveniences is not fixed. What appears as a tragedy to one person may be seen as a minor and a mere inconvenience to another, depending on their state of mind and their level of spiritual practice. A wise person, in the Buddhist sense, does not deny the pain or difficulty of life's challenges, but approaches these challenges with an open heart and a clear mind. Instead of being consumed by frustration, we see these moments as manifestations of the natural flow of life. We accept them. We see them as neither inherently good or bad, but simply as they are. And this is the way the Buddhist path offers a middle way between denial on the one hand and despair on the other. It teaches us to neither ignore life's challenges on the one hand, put our head in the ground, or be crushed by them on the other. Through mindfulness, compassion, cultivation of wisdom, we reframe, we understand our experiences differently and recognize that these are not punishments. They're not the universe out to get us. They are teachers. Each challenge, whether it feels like a tragedy or an inconvenience, is an opportunity to let go of attachment to how we think the outcome should be, to deepen our understanding of impermanence and develop a spacious and free heart. Life's challenges are neither inherently tragedies or mere conveniences. They are what we make of them, how we see them, how we perceive them. By shifting our perspective, we transform even the most painful experiences into profound lessons. The Buddha's teachings remind us that while suffering is inevitable in this life, our response to that suffering is something that can be within our control. By embracing these challenges with mindfulness and wisdom, we can transcend the labels of tragedy, transcend the label of inconvenience, and discover the boundless peace that is within our control, that is within us. So that is Tragedies versus Inconveniences.